Well, I guess I'm doing this again. Welcome back, anyone who's watching, which is probably just Pi, but, you know, whatever. This is the game of Mega Mech that I just started back up, Mech HQ, against the bot, starting a brand new mercenary company, X Company. There's some clever XCOM joke going on there. In any case, basic rules that I've set up for this one is that I'm not going with the traditional shares system, which means that I'm probably going to face some pretty nasty attrition in terms of retirement roles. But I've gone ahead and house ruled for myself that these guys, rather than operating on the standard 1 year contract and then you make a retirement roll, are operating on a 4 year contract, and in return, I am paying them twice the going rate on all of their salaries. So, bit more expense in terms of upkeep on personnel, uh, but I get to keep them for a little bit, but probably in about 4 years I'll have to reorg my entire organization, providing that we're still around at that point. I've set this back initially, started it December 16th, 3028. Uh, Starting back at the very beginning of the Fourth Succession War. For those of you playing at home, the Fourth Succession War was pretty much the war of the origin of the FedCom Union, the Federated Sons and the Lyran Commonwealth, two of the big houses, have made an unofficial but kind of official alliance through the marriage of two of their children, Hanse Davion and Katrina Steiner. And they pretty much said, all right, and as our wedding gift, we're going to go beat up on the Capellans. Oh, yeah, maps. Blue guys, Lyrans. Yellow guys, Federated Sons. Green guys, the Capellans, and they get kind of fugged in this war. For the duration of this war, the Free Worlds League over here pretty much sits out a bit. The Draconis get involved mostly as a, oh shit, we can't let them get that huge measure, but they're kind of, they end up getting a bit stagnated against the Lyrans. So, uh, exciting times. This is also the period of time just after the Helm Memory Core has been discovered, so a bunch of new fancy gizmos from the past start showing back up in the next couple of years, but unlike my last one, they haven't started showing up yet. It takes a couple of years for the information to disseminate and shit to hit the markets again. So, this time, another big change is that we are going to be sticking to only official refits until around probably 20 or 30, 40-ish, 30, 45, around whenever the last one actually began previously. Right now, we have been contracted. Our very first contract that we received was to go to, not that world, this world, Sabik. Let me grab the contract. The Lyran Commonwealth has contracted us for an objective raid against the Draconis Combine, which pretty much means that we will be subjected to uh, some difficult repair circumstances because this is a smash and run for about 4 months. And at the end of it, if we smashed enough stuff, we get to run with full pay. It was, of the ones that were offered, the most competitive, offering about 8.2 mil in ultimate funds at the end of it. 60% salvage rights, pretty great. 100% transport terms was fantastic because it actually meant that even though I started out uh, with most of my money, my initial startup money, blown on ammo and armor and whatnot to keep things rolling, uh, the 100% transport terms means that I didn't really have to take a loan. So right now I'm scooting around 3 million C-bills from my advance, and that may allow me to avoid having to take a loan whatsoever, although it is an option in the future. Uh, regular enemies, regular allies. Enemies have slightly lower grade mechs. We've got integrated command, which means that we're going to have to put up with these assholes on the field, and that's a pain, but we'll do what we can. Um, we just recently landed on the planet. As of March 10th, turns out Sabik. Most of our time spent traveling wasn't even really in terms of jumping to the planet, but because it is a binary system with huge suns, we have to jump way the fuck out. So it took us about a month just to transit in system, and so it'll take us a month to get to our next contract. But hey, what can you do? With that in mind, let's go ahead and meet the company. So the company has currently already been arrayed out into their positions. Our company leader is Captain Kobe El Garouge, call sign Bullseye. I'm actually keeping the names that these people are automatically generated with this time. Uh, I've got some basic information on where they were born, and for some of them, I may start putting out some actual bio info if they survive long enough for me to care. But the captain's a pretty cool guy. Started out with Tactics 3, rolled off and got Tactics 4 and Leadership. This guy's tactical as FERC, so he's going to be able to let us avoid a lot of nastiness and bad rolls on fighting terrain. He's also a crack shot and a good pilot. He is uh, an elite warrior and is currently using a Stalker or N. It's a variant of the base Stalker, which strips out one of its LRMs and replaces it with some more heat sinks. It's a much more stable system heatsink wise. It can fire a lot of its weapons at once, and is generally like the Stalker, big, tough, tanky. In this unit, Central Lance, we also have Lieutenant Sergeant Senior Grade Gerald Ureda, 0. Gerald is one of our officers and is currently running an Ostsal. Nice long-range heavy mech. Pretty fast for a heavy mech, too, although it's kind of lightly armored. We've also got a pair of medium mechs in here. A Dervish, run by Sergeant Barty Ruma, call sign Genie. The Dervish is, well, let's face it, the Dervish is a fucking mess. This thing is designed to do some weird combination of missile strikes from long range, missile strikes from short range, but the upshot of this is that it carries around ammo in both its torsos and arms, and so it's a powder keg waiting to happen. We'll probably try to err on the side of keeping the sergeant in the back lines so that, well, doesn't get an arm critical and then the entire mech explodes, but we'll see how that goes. In much better designs, Corporal Luke Kelly here, Hog, is running a Trebuchet, a medium that has a much more classic design of just packing a pair of LRM-15s and some medium lasers. We can keep on the back lines definitely until it runs through its 8 shots, and then engage closer to help deal some extra damage with its mediums. This is all part of Central Lance, our big, elite, heavy lance, which unfortunately is about 30 tons short of a true heavy lance, but we'll work on getting that improved. Big Sky Lance is our medium lance, probably going to be using these guys as our actual scout lance, since all of the mechs in here are pretty speedy. Well, okay, except the urban mech, but what can you frickin' do? We have mostly made up of 3 Wolverines, originally rolled them as 6Rs, and went ahead and refitted them to 6Ms. The 6R carries around an autocannon 5. Autocannon 5, it's an okay weapon, but the 6R refit, or the 6M refit, puts it with a large laser in place, which is just more reliable, less prone to explosions. So that's what most of the unit is made up of. It has jump jets, it's got decent armor, it's got decent speed. Leading this is Lieutenant Junior Grade Meta Allen, Sassy. I randomly rolled all of these, so I'm just rolling with it. Sassy's in charge. Under her is Corporal Isra Adam, Babe. Like I said, randomly rolled these. and she is also accompanied by the. Oh, okay. So we've got this guy, Corporal Mike Manassa, our urban mech pilot. This guy rolled up with an urban mech. Urban mechs, well, they're an interesting light. They're a light that moves worse than several assaults. It's slow, it's ponderous, it's heavily armored for a light. Even though it's 30 tons, it's packing as much armor as some lighter medium mechs. Uh, it's got an AC-10, that's respectable, but it's a plotter. It moves so slow, and the only reason it's in Big Sky Lance is because honestly, it didn't fit initially in the Scout Lance. So probably the first time we managed to get our hands on a medium mech to put him in, we'll swap him over. And the urban mech can probably go to someone who can then make Central Lance a full heavy lance or something else. I'm going to be looking into trying to get some vehicles or aeronautica for this campaign. See if I can't get some actual support out of those. But then Private Pia Croak, our only green that we rolled, pretty lucky there, is also piloting a Wolverine. Well, she's got some room to improve in terms of shooting and piloting. But hey, you got to have at least one Rook on your squad, right? You know, who's going to be in the F and G otherwise? Call sign Dagger. Firebrand Lance is our light lance, and probably will be used for what light lances usually are, scouting and looking at. I don't know. This is something I'm trying to figure out. Central Lance is definitely going to be my fighting lance, but Big Sky, if not for that urban mech, would be pretty good for a scouting lance also. They're all pretty fast. Probably, I guess initially, Big Sky Lance will need to be a additional fighting lance, and maybe Firebrand Lance is going to be kind of on defense. Uh, Consisting mostly of light mechs. It's led by Lieutenant Junior Grade Sheila Salami with her Commando Com 2D. Commando's a respectable light mech. It's packing a medium laser and a pair of SRMs that give it a pretty nasty close range punch. Uh, it's got the standard problems of a light mech, though. It really can't engage very long, and it's also kind of slower for a light mech. It's designed to be kind of a brawler light mech, but there's only so far you can go with that. Unfortunately, two others of the team, Corporal Laura Henstock, Twinkle Toes. Oh, right. The lieutenant is happy, apparently. Twinkle Toes here, pulling along a Hornet. A Hornet's a really unimpressive mech. It's got a medium laser, it's got a small laser, it's got a SRM-4, sure, but it's a 20-tonner. There's only so much you can do with a 20-tonner, and it's a 20-tonner that moves at the speeds of a medium mech. So it doesn't move that fast. It's maneuverable with 5 jump jets, but it's liable to get in trouble. And even worse is Corporal Katie Tripp, who showed up in a Wasp. Icicle here is packing an SRM-2 and a medium laser. Also, very little armor. Also, it's not really that fast. I mean, it's got Jump Jet 6. That's, maneuverable as hell, but it's not that fast. The only saving grace of the squad is a Shadowhawk, led by Corporal Imana Koransi, call sign Small, which is kind of ironic. She's the largest mech in the whole Lance. The Shadowhawk SHD 2K is a respectable version. It doesn't have some of the raw firepower of the other versions, but it is packing a PPC, which gives it respectable range, respectable damage. A little bit of problem in brawl range, because that PPC doesn't work within a certain distance. Also backed up by an LRM-5, which also doesn't work within a certain distance. So unfortunately, she's got to kind of sit back and snipe while some of these others move forward to brawl, and that means you're brawling with your light mechs. This Lance is just kind of hard to deploy. I figure I'm going to probably, since I only need 2 Lances on deployment, I'm going to start with Central Lance and Big Sky. Central is fight, Big Sky is scout. Firebrand will sit back and train. Well, actually, they don't have anyone green, so no point in training. Um, can't really swap out anyone for. Well, actually, I could swap out one of those wasps or hornets for the urban mech. No, wait, urban mech isn't our noob. The private is. I may shift that around just a little bit. Maybe make Firebrand Lance a training lance. Try to get our noob some experience, while some more experienced people uh, take advantage of their mechs and try to get some stuff done. If one of the mechs, Central or Big Sky, falls off, though, it'll be up to Firebrand to make up for it. So, good luck to them. In any case, that's kind of a workup of the military side of our company. Let's talk really quick about our personnel on the support side. For our support, we've got a number of mech techs. Boleslav Katsa, Laura Du, a veteran. We actually got a fair number of veterans for our role, which is fantastic. We've got one of our admins. Let's see if I can't get. Oh, right, with the big graphic view, it doesn't sort by that. Well, let's just go by. Yeah, you got to see them. Helena Serrano, our admin command. We started with the standard list of 10 mech techs, a doctor, and a admin. I chose HR for mine, and that HR position paid off great because we then, over the course of our first several weeks of transit, pulled in a number of other support elements that will definitely help us. One nice thing about our Captain Kobe, he started with Leadership +1, which expands us from the 12 base that we have to the capacity for 18 support personnel and 18 combat personnel. So, very nice. We hired on Helena Serrano as an admin command. Shuk Wan De was with us from the beginning as admin HR. We picked up Londa Hopkin for our logisticals. We're still missing transportation, but we'll hopefully find someone. Picked up Lena Gonzalez as an aerotech. Now, I'm not getting anything out of this right now, but aerotechs are a pretty rare role, so when I spotted one, I snapped it up. I do eventually want to try to get some, aerospace guys out there. Quick explanation for the portraits. I'm only giving you a portrait for the various techs if you manage to get veteran. You don't deserve to get a face before that. Cabrina Sahiri, our doctor, an elite doctor, no feel-gooding here. Actually comes with some artillery skill and small arm skill as well, so in theory could use her on the field. But the good doctor Cabrina Sahiri, who, maybe I should give elite support personnel call signs too. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna swap over right on camera. Oh, good, it didn't show up on that side of the camera. So I can do this with impunity. Well, that certainly won't get confusing. Cabrina Sahiri, call sign Major. Don't let the fact that she doesn't have a rank fool you. Everyone knows who's in charge around here. Boleslav Kotska, touched on him before. He's one of our regular mech techs. Laura Du, one of our veterans. She's currently working on supporting a small number of our mechs. The Assault, the Heavy, and 2 of the Smalls. Erdine Caldwell is one of our other veteran mech techs. She's already been hard at work, or Edine, rather. She's already been hard at work alongside... let's see here. Who else was doing that? Yeah. Alongside Christabel here, doing some work on refitting those, what were they called? Yeah, refitting the Wolverines into the new type of model that I wanted. Francesca Morales, a regular. LaRocca Lieberman, a green. Sam Miles, regular. Julie Okada, a veteran, actually has some fluff put on her because she was the first to come up for doing maintenance, and as such is responsible for maintenance on well over half of the mechs in the platoon right now. Jing Sun, another green. Inam Jamshed, a green. We have a pretty good mix of green, regulars, and veterans. 4 veterans, 3 regulars, 3 greens, which means an attempt to repair at nearly all points of the spectrum. Will be nice to get an elite on hand, which we may get through training, or we might just find one. Christabel Marinata, as mentioned earlier, has been doing refitting, and Emily Schwager, our regular mech tech at the end. We do have one other combat personnel that I haven't touched on yet. We managed to pick up a veteran who is carrying around well, it's not showing up here, but she actually has a talent gunnery. That thing that, let's see here, what was his name? Cheeseburger? Yeah, Cheeseburger had in the last campaign, the one that lets you roll 3d6 and take the highest. Unfortunately, dispossessed, no mech to speak of, but once we manage to get her in something, that's going to be impressive. So, that's a quick overview of where we are in the galaxy and where we are currently. So at this point, you have now been introduced to X Company. I'm probably not going to do as much in terms of the let you see all of the nitty-gritty individual decisions day by day. You guys just get to see the meat of things. I'll introduce some stuff, I'll tell you what's going on, and when it comes to a fight, you get to watch fight. So for right now, this is X Company signing off. I should set up a hotkey for stopping recording.